All right, Matt. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. A little tired. Stayed up a little bit too late last night. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. And I guess for me, the first question is, regarding the pool rooms. The first one that you've created, kind of like planted, cemented yourself within this realm, the backrooms realm, or just liminal spaces in general. You made backrooms level exclamation point, which was run for your life. Um,
Oh yeah.
when you first made that, were you expecting the reaction that you received, or was it just like you kind of put something together? Like it's a fairly quick clip. It's like 50 seconds.
Yeah, so the reaction was way better than I was expecting because it is something that I threw together pretty quickly. I mean,
Hmm,
like at the time I just watched, Kane Pixel's Backrooms video and the whole genre was starting to pick up.
gotcha.
And I started messing around with Blender and stuff and thought, man, this stuff's kind of interesting. And I started looking through the wiki because I saw that was super popular. And I noticed one of the most popular levels was level Run for Your Life. And I realized nobody else has made, any sort of found footage on this yet. And this whole Backrooms thing is seeming pretty popular. So I thought, I'll just take a few hours, put together a little video, see what people think. And then it just kind of blew up. And that was pretty exciting.
Were you watching that the counter go up through your analytics? Like, how did that feel going and seeing
Yeah,
that?
oh, that was just insane because I'd posted random videos in the past, as a kid. I just, little Lego videos, whatever,
Yeah.
get maybe 20, 30 views, 100 if I'm super lucky. Um, but then I think it was maybe 1 or 2 days after I, noticed the analytics started showing like, 50, 60 views in the last hour. And I'm like, wow, this is actually a pretty good rate for me. And
Yeah.
then a couple hours later, it's up to like 150, 200. And then, I went to bed and the next day I woke up and it's at like 50,000 views. And I think
Jeez.
within maybe a week or 2 weeks, it hit 1 million views. And I was just completely blown away by that. I mean, it was
Wow.
a pretty great feeling.
Wow. Man, that must have been nuts just to see that happen. Oh man. And it's a really good video. I know that you like put it together. Like how long did it take for you to make that? I mean, it is like almost like 50 seconds long, but usually so like I guess just run by me
Yeah,
like how it was made and just how quickly it was done.
it was made in just one afternoon, really. I mean, so I had
What?
had like a tiny bit of experience with Blender beforehand because I've been pretty big into like computer aided design, that stuff for many years now. But I never done like rendering things before, and so that was kind of like maybe my second time using Blender. So that afternoon when I thought maybe I could try one of these Backrooms videos, I just looked up like how to do Blender camera tracking with your phone. I went out into my backyard and I basically just recorded running around and falling over, and then tracked that motion into the camera on Blender. Then by the end of the day, I just had this little video put together based off of a few Blender tutorials I watched.
So how did you get the movements onto Blender? How is that process? I've always been curious about that.
Yeah, so I just have an app on my phone, and basically I spend maybe a couple minutes walking around whatever like my environment is, and it'll scan everything. And then I just click record, and it starts recording however my phone moves.
Really? Oh, so is it like a kind of like that? I know that there's a LiDAR app sort of thing that can scan your entire environment in like 3D. Is it similar
Yeah,
to
it's a
that?
little bit like that.
Okay.
Yeah, except instead of like storing the like, scan of the room, it just uses that as a reference for where your phone is. And one thing I will say for the other, Blender creators out there that uh, a lot of people kind of get stuck on is, with these Backrooms videos, you're working with these huge spaces.
Mhm.
I'm talking, obviously, quote unquote, millions of square miles of rooms and stuff. And a lot of people are like, how big is your house for you to be able to, record this thing and get the tracking? Um, but basically, you don't actually have to go anywhere. Usually, I just stand in place and move my phone around, And then in Blender, you can actually just move the camera to wherever you want it to go. So it looks like I'm walking in my videos, but I'm
Gotcha.
actually just standing still.
So you're just standing in place and just walking in place, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much all I have to do.
Man, man. Oh, that's so cool. So Run for Your Life started it all, and after that, I noticed that, you know, and even during that time, everybody was doing level zero stuff. Everybody was, well, not everybody, but I guess for the most part at that time, level zero was sort of like the go-to, and people had some other, you know, levels that were showing up, some Dreamcore videos, etc. But it,
Right.
you know, you would think, I know that I was seeing like a lot of Playrooms was the one that was like popping off as well. I know that there was a couple other people that were doing like Playroom stuff, like Lost in the Hyperverse. They were doing
Mhm.
Playroom stuff. I don't necessarily know if um if it was at the same time, but that was pretty much like one of like the popular stuff was like level zero Playrooms. I think at the time, I'm not 100% sure. At what point did you decide, hey, I don't want to do a level zero thing right from the get-go? Because like I honestly would have thought that at that point you would have maybe shifted over to doing like level zero exploration, but you instead not only took that, but you encompassed something that other people weren't really doing at the time, which was like the pool rooms stuff. What made you go into the pool rooms instead of just focusing on like level zero and stuff like that? Because aside from the fact that it's different enough, I think it's like really cool that you decided to kind of take that route. Not only that, but Run for Your Life, for all intents and purposes, is an entity chase. There's something chasing you. Something is happening. I think there's even a smiler in there. Um,
Mhm.
it's in the thumbnail, and I think it's even in the video too. But what what
Yeah.
happened? Like what made you do the shift to the pool rooms and just focusing on just no entities, just exploration? Because honestly, that is what I know you for, and
Mhm.
I'm really curious on how that happened.
Yeah, so obviously, like a lot of people, my introduction to the whole kind of Backrooms Found Footage genre was Kane Pixel series, and I absolutely loved it because I've always kind of had a thing for liminal spaces, and it was the first time I'd really seen somebody use those for, I guess, kind of like an art piece like this. And I thought that was really cool, but when I saw that, I didn't necessarily consider like making that kind of stuff on my own. And it wasn't until I saw Jared Pike's Pool Rooms found
Gotcha.
footage video, which, you know, it's a real short thing, only 2 minutes, but something about that just really hooked me. I mean, I really thought it was just like kind of the perfect use of liminal spaces. I just thought it was like beautiful architecture. I love the fact that, you know, there's nothing really like crazy going on in the shot, just somebody kind of wandering around these very, you know, strangely familiar and nostalgic looking places.
Yeah.
Um, and after I saw that, I was like, man, I need to create something like this. Like, I really thought about, you know, how cool would it be if I could learn how to use this software and then create these, you know, crazy worlds that I just think of in my head and actually make them, you know, feel like they're in real life. And so, you know, that whole vibe of his video really stuck with me. And I think that's what has inspired a lot of the stuff that I've made on my channel.
Man, yeah, and like you're nailing it down perfectly. The and like I said before, I, I really enjoy entities and stuff like that. I think they're really cool. I think like maybe sometimes there's too many of them. um, I think the
Sure.
whole I think for me at least when it comes to liminal spaces, the whole reason why I enjoy it is for that chill time. I think liminal spaces for me is an escape, you know, and I don't know, I guess I get a sense of peace out of them. Some people just get absolutely just terrified, they're just terrified about them, you know, when it comes to being alone in a place like that. I feel like it's great. I can explore and stuff like that. You know, of course, that's with the caveat that I have a way out, but
Sure, yeah.
I don't think that that's the case for most of your vids. Even though there's one particular character who can find a way out, which we'll touch base on in a little bit. But yeah, so you said I think there's another person. So I know Jared Pike, I know for a fact, and then there's another person who makes stuff on Instagram, Aram Dr Darbian, I believe. I hope I'm saying their name correct, but Aram is incredible at pool room stuff. They just have like the pool rooms reels and stuff. And so that's great. That's awesome. So like Jared Pike was your first inspiration, I guess, uh, when it comes to the pool rooms, and that's kind of what shifted you over to creating these worlds without entities and without really too much danger. It's just the loneliness. And it was that pretty much what you were trying to capture. Did you notice that that was missing out there for the most part? Because everybody was like getting chased by stuff. Everybody was dealing with a lot of like, how do I say this? A lot of overstimulation. Yeah, like yours.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, I guess your videos were just not trying to peak on that overstimulation factor. You were just trying to explore this place and trying to see what's going on. So that brings us
Right.
to like the first, pool rooms, the mall. Can you're jumping from just 50 seconds to like 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes. And this is ambitious. This is an ambitious jump. You know, can you kind of take us through the process of creating pool rooms, the mall exploration footage?
Yeah, so after I posted my first video, I did kind of decide, I did want to focus on these kind of empty, liminal, lonely feeling spaces. I did kind of feel like that's something that was kind of missing. I felt like if you look at the original Backrooms 4chan post, it does mention, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's like there's something out there and like you may not be able to hear it, but it hears you. And some people point at that and say, well, like, oh, there's entities even in the original one. But I think kind of the point is that like you don't see this thing that could be there.
Mm,
This
yeah.
kind of thing that might always be lurking around the corner. But I think it's kind of important to let your own mind fill in the blank for, what terrifying thing might be around that dark corridor or, underneath that water or whatever. So that did kind of become something that I wanted to focus on. And of course, after seeing Jared Pike's video, I really wanted to try a pool rooms video. So yeah, I remember I was messing around with a lot of different environments for the first video, and then out of nowhere, I just kind of randomly thought, well, what if there's a pool, but it looked like a mall, very very intricate thought process there, and so I just started designing that up in about an hour. I pretty much had the set for the whole video.
And I noticed, during that, your introduction to it is just like the person just is just there. But it's like I noticed like Wanderer J7 or J something, I believe. So it's like there's documentation of these by somebody, which is kind of where like when you go into the next one, which is pool rooms don't get is it pool rooms don't yeah pool rooms don't get lost. But I want to get lost.
Yeah.
Exploration footage number 2. Is this still the same character?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So it's a little bit like a continuation, somewhat of that first one.
Okay.
Actually, and I just now remembered. That actually wasn't the video I was planning to do. I'll send some. Actually, I can send over some of those test renders.
Oh yeah.
Because I just found them recently. But I was planning on doing. Well, I'll go back a second. So, the whole thing with like the Wanderer and whatnot, and I don't know if you notice. I think it's still in the video. The introduction for Don't Get Lost has the like Major Explorer group. So for those videos, I was kind of going off of some of the Wikipedia lore because I noticed that was very popular among people. So I
Yeah.
thought, that's just a fun little detail to throw in. But one thing about the lore I saw is that one of the exits from the pool rooms level is it goes into another level called, I think, the Lukewarm Hotel, which is kind of like a bit of a spin on the pool rooms, kind of like a Frutiger Arrow type pool rooms, I think, and it's like a kind of like a hotel. So I was planning on actually moving um, the next video that it would be a continuation. That previous video, the mall ends with the character walking up the steps. The next video was supposed to start with them continuing up those steps into a new room, but the problem is, I was making this entire video on a Mac that I think is from like 2014. So its rendering capabilities were just atrocious. I mean, it could barely run Minecraft. Um, and so I just could not at all, for the life of me, get it to render this new set that I was doing. So I was like, okay, I guess I gotta, stick with mostly the old sets, keep the lighting really bright. And so that's why eventually I landed on kind of what became Pool Rooms Don't Get Lost with those kind of brighter sets.
So that's why at that point, um, for the second one, it's at it. Do you think that that character, I guess, found their way back to Meg headquarters, and because that's where it's the same character, right? So
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like walking around, um, as Wanderer J7, and I at this point you do incorporate level 0 a little bit, but then um it shifts over to pool rooms at one point,
Mhm.
which is really awesome because I love the fact that it's hidden underneath this small little alcove, this small little tunnel in the level 0 section. Very well done. It just like transitions from like this black tunnel, and then suddenly you just see a bunch of tile, and it's like super cool. I feel like
Yeah, that was kind of inspired by, if you've ever seen the SpongeBob episode, and of course I grew up on that show, so lots of things get inspired from that for me. But there's one episode where there's like a locker that they have, and it's just this tiny little locker, for storing a few things. And of course, when SpongeBob goes into it, it opens up into this massive labyrinth. And I just thought that was such a weird but cool idea. That you just have this tiny little hole or a little opening in some random wall tucked away in some big maze, and that can lead into this whole massive hidden world.
yeah, that's the cool stuff. I love that. I love that about a lot of your videos have that too. Like some of the latest
Hmm.
ones are like that as well. Where and I could tell you like that too because you've got like the small openings and suddenly there's just this labyrinth, and then you've got this insane corridor that this person has to explore, and it's just phenomenal. I just love the way you've done that.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. So the it looks like you're trying to add like more, I guess, lore to it. You're trying to add more uh things to it at this point. This was like 2 years ago. Man, it's been 2 years. I'm
I
just
know
thinking
it's been
about
a long
that.
time.
I feel like even found footage, like the Kane Pixels found footage, Backrooms found footage. That was like 2 years ago, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
God, time is flying. I
I
don't
do
like it.
believe Found Footage
It's
3 is coming out soon, which is exciting.
what's that?
Found Footage 3 is going to come out soon, which is
Is
exciting.
that being teased?
Yeah, according to Kane's server, he's been posting a lot of teasers about it actually over the past like 9 months or something. So he's been working on it for a long time.
Within it, there's I guess I'm so bad about Discord in general. I want to be surprised the most that I can.
Oh, that's fair. That's
You
fair.
know what I'm saying? Um I just like the furthest I've ever gone with like theory stuff was like talking about the sun, the connection to the sun, and that's what a lot of people are saying. Like they didn't. That's pretty spot on. Like there's a specific date that you see, I think, in Overflow that's directly connected to a solar storm that happened at the same exact date, and that coincides
Oh,
with
really?
the spectral calendars and the spectral things that are used within a lot of his videos that showcase the solar systems, or specifically the sun, celestial stuff. But anyway, all right. So from exploration footage number 2, you go into first encounter. Now is this the same character that's playing the piano?
No,
This is a complete, so
it's not.
okay, so is this like I guess this is a civilian, if you want to put it this way. This is just somebody who found it.
Yeah, just a random dude.
Just a random dude. I like that
Yeah,
I like the way that it starts off with the piano, which you had mentioned once before. I believe that's you. Is that correct? That's playing the piano?
yeah. My fantastic acting skills I got to showcase there. But yeah, I do also do some music stuff, so I thought I may as well throw in a little bit of piano playing in this video.
That's awesome. I feel like many people who like create backrooms content, a lot of them are like really into making music as well. Like I've noticed that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Seems to be a popular
I don't
trend.
know why that those. I mean, I guess like ambient tracks and just in general, just an appreciation for music. Maybe I don't know why those things go hand in hand, but like I myself, I play the drums, guitar, and I really enjoy liminal spaces and things like that. So I feel like there has to be some sort of like connection there. I'm trying to figure out why that happens, but it's just really cool to me. But Matt, First Encounter has like one of my favorite shots, which is the one with the staircase, where like the character looks up the staircase that they originally thought, because essentially they no clip, but they no clip back into something similar to their own home. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty much a like alternate reality version of their house, lost in the back rooms.
How did you make that the staircase? It's just like infinite. How did you, was that just like basically you make one section and just copy paste like all the way up, or
Yeah, it's called the array modifier for all those Blender nerds out there. I'm sure you'll
array
know it.
modifier? Okay. Yeah, because
Like a
that
billion
scene
of the same thing.
that scene is just insane to me. I love that. I think like I did a video on it way back, and that part just blew me away. I was like, man, it's only like 50 something seconds into this video and already this stuff is just insane. This is
Yeah,
crazy. So
I think that was the first video of mine you reacted to, and that was pretty exciting for me. That's still one of my somewhat earlier videos, I guess, but that's just cool getting to see people's reactions to that.
it was so cool. It was so cool. Who turns on the lights in First Encounter?
They
I,
do. They just flip a switch.
oh, they do? Oh, okay. It's like I just
The sound design was I wasn't at my you know
well,
best.
hey,
Yeah.
it's still mysterious. It's still cool. Um, but this one was pretty heavy on level 0. But then you get into like one of my favorite renditions of that, which is like the red carpet and the gray walls. I've seen that done a couple times afterwards too, but I really enjoy this setting. And I think you have like the lonely chair and the desk and everything like that. Um, at this point, was there any changes to like the tech that you were using for your videos?
No, not yet really. I was still struggling with that old Mac, and that did end up kind of swaying a lot of the design and scene choices for my videos. Is kind of what was I technically capable of rendering. I mean, I was rendering. I think those videos were all like rendered at 15 frames per second, and then I used After Effects to up it to 30, and it was taking like 2 minutes for every frame to render, and it still didn't look good. Uh, so it was a bit of a struggle. But I think it wasn't until after Murky Waters that I actually upgraded to a better laptop.
When did Murky? Oh, Murky Waters is right after that. That one's the one that included like the slides, the yellow, green, and red slides.
Yeah, I had kind of a bit of a run there with videos for maybe like 6 months or something before I ended up having to take a break, just life stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. But looking at murky waters, is this? I guess if I'm gonna go back, so First Encounter was my favorite because of the fact that you see another person. You see, I guess they work with Meg. And
Hmm.
are these characters going to still be around, or was this just kind of like a one shot thing? You were still sort of trying to figure out what you wanted to do, where you wanted to go with your videos, if you wanted to establish, the sense of like having some sort of like agency, like Meg involved, because I noticed that like in the latest videos that stuff doesn't really exist.
Yeah, it was, I guess, sort of. I think I did kind of want to move away from some of that Meg stuff and some of that lore stuff. I did try, at least for those earlier videos, like with their lore, I did try out a few things, but really, I think I just thought, I'd want to focus on, for like that series itself, focus on more of just these like individual stories of
Hmm.
this one person with what they're experiencing, this weird thing that showed up in their basement. And also just focus on like the liminal spaces of it. And I will say I am working on a new series right now, and that won't be the case for the new series. That one I am actually trying to write out more of a consistent storyline.
So you've got a brand new series that you're working on. Do you want to touch? Let's talk about that after we cover a couple of other things here for your first series, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I want to be able to like bookmark that so that people can go straight to it if they're just like really like antsy about knowing, what's in store. Um but that's really freaking exciting, and that's gonna man, I've got a billion questions for you now. My goodness. Man, so yeah, Murky Waters, what is the tech that you ended up using for Murky Waters that was so different from the last ones?
Yeah. Well, so Murky Waters was actually still like I was still using the old laptop, struggling with the quality of renders and whatnot. But I think that was the first video where well, okay, so I think. So I think in all the videos before that, they were rendered in 15 frames per second and they were pretty choppy. And I was using like pretty cheap VHS effect that I found as a Blender plugin.
Mm-hmm.
But for that video, I think I started actually using After Effects to bump it up to 30 frames per second, so it's a lot smoother. And then I did things like I used a bit of a different VHS effect to give it kind of more of like a fuzzy dreamcore type vibe.
Mm,
And I also just added some smaller details, like lens dirt moving around when there's light in the shot and stuff, just
that's
so a
really
little
cool.
realism.
It
And then also like having the person actually walk through the water, that was kind of a struggle with the computer I was using.
Yeah, how was that? Was that oh, yeah, I think you even included a little bit of the Heathrow Hotel in Murky Waters, didn't you? You did. There's just like a
Yeah.
little section there. I love that. I can't I can't express to you how much I just want to fly there just to go to that freaking hotel just to be like, oh, okay, there it is. Even though it's like it's a lobby, so like right behind me is like hotel staff. They're just like, who is this
Yeah, I've had the
dude?
same thought.
Yeah,
I went to a weird hotel last week and it had almost the exact same vibes. Like I walked in and it was almost pitch black except for some balcony lights, and it was a weird like open concept. It had a pool in the middle of it and then like balconies of like rooms, but this was all indoors. So really I took some pictures. It really felt like something that would have been in one of these videos.
there was a hotel that I went to one time, and they had a similar layout. So like I walked in, hotel staff was on the left. The carpet was just the most atrocious, weird design I have ever seen. Paisleys everywhere, whatever. And if there was a section that was not being utilized by hotel staff or people who were staying at the hotel, the lights were off. So you had like these dark sections, and that's how you know maybe the hotel's struggling because they're trying to save money on like
Oh, sure.
on electricity or something. But they too also had a lobby that immediately went out to a section that had a pool. And there was like no barrier, no doors, no nothing. It was just like open space from the lobby straight to the pool. And what was weird is that, of course, around it was like surrounding it was all the rooms, and they had balconies that overlooked the pool on the inside. But what was strange is that the pool was like, it had like maybe like 4 rows of tiles that extended outward, and then it was just carpet. And
Oh, yeah.
so I was seeing I was seeing people using the pool like nobody's business. It's all right. And then just like, drying off a little bit, putting on wet sandals, still dripping with their towel on, walking off the tile into the carpet, into the elevator. I'm like, what the hell? And I look at the carpet and it's like so disgusting, like so
I get a
squishy.
lot of comments. I get a lot of comments about that with some of my videos and some of my recent renders because I have like pools that are right up against carpet, and a lot of people commenting like, "Oh, that's so weird! Like the pool right next to the carpet." And I'm
Yeah.
sure those people would not appreciate that hotel's layout.
Yeah. It was so sick. I was like, man, I just saw this dude just get out and just walk along and be fine. I'm like, man, you just have no idea what you just like submersed yourself in. Like, I don't know how, like, and I also was like developing a cough. I think that there was like a mold problem. There was definitely a mold problem there. There had to be a mold problem. There has to be. I feel like I was experiencing what any person would experience within level 0 or anything like Backrooms related that had a carpet, because they do talk about how like the carpet's like kind of, damp and stuff like that, so
Right.
like I'm just I'm just wondering to myself like, man, I just pretty much was just inhaling black mold this whole time, and I just didn't realize it until later on. I was like, that was such a sick place. Oh man, I'll
I like
never.
that one guy. That
Yeah,
one guy from the end of Missing Persons,
right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
sitting up against the mold.
Yep. Ah, man, that's exactly how I felt afterwards. I went home because I had to do an interview there for some reason for another company, and it was just like, what? Like, why? Why do I feel this way? It was awful. It was awful. So, how many characters do you have within your series?
That's a good question. Not something I've thought about in a while, actually. um,
So you got
I
the
guess if you include the person from Run for Your Life, that would be 4 characters.
4 characters. So you've got
Because you have the person from Run from Your Life, and then you have the person from the 2, well, all the Pool Rooms videos, I guess. Besides the last one, actually. So you have Run for Your Life. You have the person from Pool Rooms the Mall and Pool Rooms Don't Get Lost in Murky Waters. Then you have the guy from First Encounter, and then you have the guy from Second Encounter. And I will say those are 2 different people.
oh, they are.
Okay, I was a little lazy with not finding another voice actor, so that's why they both sound the same, because they are both me.
Okay. I mean, you got to work with what you got to work with, you know? Can't do anything about that. It's all good.
Mhm.
So First Encounter, Second Encounter, those are 2 separate guys. Murky Waters is a separate dude. And then you got Don't Get Lost, Pool Rooms, The Mall. That's one person. And then Backrooms, level Run for Your Life. That's another person. And then you're saying that for the latest one, which by the way was incredible. The latest one was
Thank you.
incredible. New Depths. This is a totally different character. Your VHS work here is phenomenal. It's so realistic.
Thank you. Yes. So that one and video before that, Second Encounter, were both just real VHS. So I really did just run those videos through a VCR.
No shit.
And uh, I'm actually planning on probably moving away from that for my next video.
Okay.
Just because one of the main reasons actually is like I think you really can't beat like the compression and the interlacing. I think they just look fantastic with the real VHS. But one problem is it does lower the quality like really significantly,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't love that. I feel like it ends up kind of like losing some of the details that I liked when I originally put them in the video.
That you worked really hard to make.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So probably gonna try something a little different for the next video.
You know what I would love to see without the filter, just because I'm curious, is that like almost like halfway through. It's one of my favorite moments in recent Backrooms videos that I've seen. In New Depths, about halfway, you go through this weird hallway that has like these half walls with like these like accessibility
Yeah.
handlebars, and then like there's like a red, green, like red, yellow, white lights coming out from the other side of the half walls.
Uh-huh.
That part is so badass. I love that so much. Like I haven't seen that before at all. I was like, what is that? I've never seen anybody create anything like that. It's just beautiful. I love that part. There's like one part in New Depths, because I want to talk a lot about the newest one. I know it was like 6 months ago and I covered it a while back, but I do want to talk about it because it is the latest thing that's on your channel. And it's like so much fun. You really threw in a lot of experimental things, like that hallway I was just talking about. But I love what actually happens after that hallway. It's that one section with like that carpeted weird bridge, and you have like this deep gap, and like you have the cloudy windows, and I'm just like, that is like the coolest thing. And you hear an owl.
Yeah, the mourning dove.
Oh, is it a dove? Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah. No, I mean it does sound like one. There is an owl in the like first 5 seconds of the video.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm mixing it up with. Okay. Yeah.
Although, I mean, but that's not like a huge detail. You probably are like mainly thinking of that mourning dove, which for a lot of like, especially I think early 2000s kids like myself, I think that's a super nostalgic sound. I mean, I think for really any kids, and of course I hear a lot of people talk about like, oh, you don't really hear that sound anymore, but I think that's just because a lot of us as adults don't really, aren't awake at 7:30 playing outside anymore.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes me kind of sad. Maybe I should start waking up at 7 a.m. again. I don't know.
Sometimes I do that and I go outside and I'm like, oh, there's that
sound.
I used to hear all the time. I guess it is still there. It's just me.
Oh
Not
man,
as much.
it's me. I'm the problem. It's like it's me. It's me this whole time. Yeah, incredible work. I loved the video and the ending for it. For those of you that haven't seen the ending to New Depths and don't want any spoilers to it, please skip ahead maybe in some way, shape, or form. But I guess that's it for this character, because they're locked in and all that water starts rushing in. That was sad. I was really sad. I was like, oh no, like they actually died. It's gone.
It wasn't an ideal situation.
No.
No.
Well, I wonder if they survived. Maybe one day we'll find out. Maybe we won't.
Maybe one day we will find out.
Maybe.
We'll see.
So before we get into your new series, did you see that they discovered the actual Backrooms location?
I did. That was exciting.
Isn't that awesome?
I always wondered about that. I'm a little sad that they renovated it, so it's not there anymore. I was
It's
kind of hoping.
it's a it's an
I feel like
RC racing track now.
I know. I feel like as somebody who's been so invested with the backroom stuff, and that picture sparked like whole chapter of their life and all this stuff they do around it. I'd always wondered about that, and even thought like, man, how exciting would it be if one day I was just walking into some old store or something, and I look around and I'm like, wait a second, I'm in the back rooms right now, and getting to discover that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
But yeah, man, that's crazy that they were able to go through those old archives and find that picture.
Absolutely insane. I was blown away being able to see like all the other pictures. Like now that we've had that original shot for so long, and then now we have this other weird shot with like those art. Like it's even weirder. Like you have like it's like
Right.
a weird half wall, not all the way, but then you have like these arches on the top with like small columns. Like I'm like, what is this? This whole thing was just like, and it was so strange. It was the strangest thing I have ever seen. And just being able to see a lot of like those old photos was just like really cool. But that building in general, like that building right now is deteriorating. Like they're saying that it's like falling apart.
I
And
saw something about that, like a fundraiser
there's a
thing.
fundraiser now that people are wanting to get some funds for to renovate the building and its infrastructure because it's coming apart. And one of their goals is that if they're able to do this, they want to be able to essentially host backrooms days where they change the place and make it like the original layout.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
And I think that's like the coolest thing. I've always been telling people like, why don't they just take an old abandoned IKEA and just turn it into like a backrooms theme park? I feel like we're just
Yeah, exactly.
sitting on, well, maybe not sitting on gold because I don't think everybody's into it, but like I feel like it would be like a really niche, cool thing, kind of like an Omega Mart kind of situation,
Oh right.
you
Yeah, I've seen
know?
some stuff about that.
Yeah, Omega Mart is pretty cool. It's I think it would be really neat to have a full-fledged theme park, and serve almond milk
Maybe like a
and
backrooms escape room.
yeah, there you go. And that would probably be the smarter way to create a theme park in that
But
setting.
instead of clues, you just have to wander around for a few hours,
There you go.
taking the scenery.
Hold on,
Yeah, so
you just sent
so
me a
um
picture here. This is so cool.
yeah, so in Kane's Discord server, after they, discovered the original location and that new picture came out, they held a little challenge for people's different like renditions of that room and
Mhm.
renders. So I threw this one together, a little pool rooms version of
Nice.
the second space.
That is so damn awesome. That is those weird arches. It's so strange.
I know. I can't imagine what it looked like when it was actually like full of furniture or whatever as a real display.
Yeah, because it was a furniture. It was a furniture showroom. Is that what it was beforehand, or what was
I
it?
think so.
Was it connected to
Something with
Sears?
furniture.
I don't
I'm
remember
not sure.
what it was connected to. Uh, it's a Hobbytown store in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's right. And there's an RC track now. Jesus. Huh. Well, that's cool. That's amazing. I really hope that they get their funding and everything like that for that whole building because I would love to see people to go. I want to go to it. I'll make a trip over there just to see that place myself. Won't be exactly the same thing, but they, I feel like they would make so much money if they just kept it as a normal, just kept it up as a museum or something. I don't know. People would just love to
Oh,
go there.
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I definitely visit. I
Yeah.
might need to see that.
So, new series. So, all right. I'm looking at your community tab. I don't know if that is that connected to the new series. I see after you posted, your your most recent video, New Depths, you posted about a month ago. You got 3 slides, water, and then you got water in a living room that has like the carpet and stuff like that. And we'll talk about this really quick. I just want to let you all know that Matt made an incredible render for my streams. And if you come to the streams on Twitch, you'll actually see my intro is utilizing one of Matt's renders. And Matt, you did an incredible job with that. People love that shit. It's awesome. And also like my Be Right Back stuff is also made by Matt. So if y'all are interested in checking it out on Twitch, you can see that. And it's just phenomenal. I hope that you're using the living room. This living room looks kind of the same, does it? Like,
Yeah, no. I designed that room for your intro first, and I was like, I feel like a pool would go pretty well here. Pass that in.
Yeah. So are these last 2 pictures from the latest series, or is this new series gonna not be connected to liminal spaces or pool rooms, etc.?
So those pictures are for pool rooms exploration number 5, and that is I'm still working on that.
Okay.
That is kind of on pause right now. So those aren't for this new series actually. So this new series is not really connected to any of those other videos. Liminal spaces do play a pretty big role in what I'm working on right now. And unfortunately, I can't say much else about it at this point. Very, very early in production.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So
still planning out a lot of stuff.
So we've got a brand new series. We've got a possible 5 coming out way, way later because that's on pause right now. But this new series, man, I wish I can get more out of you for it. Since we've talked about your new series, I guess for me, I'll talk about a little bit about what, I'm working on too. So I have the Grasp of Liminality series that I'm working on, but I also have a short film that I hope to have done by October. And that's why a lot of, my videos have, things have slowed down a little bit because I've been working on a lot of like filming work, like actual job stuff, but for these creative projects, Grasp of Liminality and things like that, those are the things that I really want to just, I'm shifting. How do I say this? I guess I have a moment right now where I feel like I'm shifting away from a lot of the original stuff that I used to do. It's still going to be coded in the same way. However, it's going to be just, I'm extrapolating more from whatever I'm covering. Like, for example, I think that any and all future like installments of Backrooms or anything that's going to come out in the future from any creators like yourself or whatever, I'm going to be focusing more on the technical side, the narrative, and just some of the most important parts about it, as opposed to just mainly only focusing on reacting to it, because I feel like that for me, it's educational for me as somebody who wants to create things, who wants to film, who has taken up the director's chair, which is kind of insane for me to say, but I feel like I can learn from, covering things in a different way as opposed to just like commenting on them. I feel like I can not only comment, but I can extrapolate things from it, and I can see, a little bit further than what I was doing before. And that's kind of like the angle that I want, is to do that, because eventually my channel is going to have a multi-part series that's going to cover, places in Japan and liminal spaces and things like that. I'm like really excited to get that off the boat. There is somebody who's making the soundtrack for it. And a lot of you,
so I've heard.
Yeah. Somebody who's making a soundtrack for it. I guess by the first episode, you guys will find out who it is, but I'm really excited. And their sound work is just incredible. I know all of you will be extremely happy to see them like show up. But
I'm excited.
yeah, it's really, really, really freaking cool. All right, Matt. Well, I feel like some of the future things beyond this, like beyond this this series and the new series that you're creating, is there anything else that you've been working on or want to work on, or like, you know, overall goals regarding, you know, what you have going on right now for any and all creative projects?
Yeah, I guess I will say I've been working on a pretty big project over the last few months. That's kind of why I've had to take a hiatus from some of these videos,
Mm.
and I can't really say anything about it yet.
Mm.
But it's, I think people are gonna like it a lot. Um,
You can't say much.
yeah,
You're
a lot going on.
trying.
Yeah,
You're struggling to stop
I
yourself.
can't, not trying to violate any things.
Oh, okay. So like this is like big time, like professional. Like, I mean, everything you do, to me, everything you do is professional. But like, uh, this is involving other people. This is involving a huge scale project. I got it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely different scale than my previous stuff, but yeah,
Damn.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Keep it up, Matt. You're incredible at what you do, and just keep going at the pace that you can. Keep the same vibe that you've been doing, and if you want to experiment, freaking experiment and do other things. You know, there's, like I've said before, the main person that you have to make things for is yourself, because you're the one
Yeah,
that is.
sure.
You're the one that's making it for a while. Yeah, of course, there's going to be some things that, like, you know, you want to like give to your community, of course, you know, just kind of keep things going, you know, of course. But just make sure to do things that make you happy. And I feel like that's what you're doing. You sound really happy about your projects, sound really happy about the direction that you've taken for even things outside of your project. So that's like really, really awesome. I'm glad that we've had a chance to speak, and I am definitely looking forward to hopefully covering, you know, another episode of something in the near future, and doing another interview once we get to see whatever masterpiece you're going to make. But Matt, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you stopping by and taking time out of your night to go ahead and talk with us and let me pick your brain for an hour.
Of course, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your interest in all this and just your dedication to getting artists' stories on their creative process and the projects they're working on.
I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, I think it's like really important for me, at least, to just bring a different perspective and just kind of like close the gap a little bit, instead of just like, oh, okay, they made a thing, you know, but like, who's the human behind it, you know, just a little peek of the person behind the awesome stuff that we've been watching and has inspired so many people. There's, you know, you've inspired people, you know, you've inspired me, Kane's inspired me, and like you guys have like you've inspired other people as a result. You know, there's so many things out there, and I feel like this community really needs to focus on just the positive influence that it's had on creativity. I feel like, you know, for example, you know, Backrooms for me is almost like a blank canvas, and you can do anything with it. It's malleable. And I think that's the best.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. And I think it's like the best way to kind of like describe why I enjoy the Backrooms and why I enjoy the creation of it, because something as simplistic as a chair and its position, or the way that a wall looks, can have like just a profound impact on a viewer's interpretation on, you know, anything that they're watching. But yeah, once again, thank you, Matt. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful night. And all of you that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I placed a link in the description below, so you can go ahead and check out Matt Studios. If you haven't already, please watch all of their videos. They're incredible. and you will not be disappointed.